Okay, students, now we have entered in week number 10 and we are taking lecture number 1 of guidance and counseling course. And the topic is guidance and counseling for inclusive schooling. What we are going to discuss in this lecture, number 1, first of all, we will try to understand the concept of inclusive education because if you are talking about the guidance and counseling in regard to the inclusive education, then we need to understand the concept of inclusive education. Then we will also try to understand the advantages of the inclusive education and what are the barriers to inclusive education we will also discuss. And then in later stage we will look into the role of the guidance and counseling in inclusive education. What can be done? And we will conclude our lecture. Let us start with the concept of inclusive education. Inclusive education is both a philosophy and educational practice. Philosophically, inclusive education is based on the right of all children, regardless of ability level, to have access to quality educational program. It is a fundamental right of every individual to receive education, and that too quality education. Whatever abilities and the capabilities students are having, they must get the opportunity to develop those abilities and capabilities up to the maximum possible limit in an inclusive classroom. There should not be any separate classroom for the differently able students and the normal population or gifted population or the slow learning population. The inclusive education is basically includes both the types of the students who generally considered as general students, although general students are also having many diverse abilities and the capabilities and the temperament and the behavior characteristic features. But differently able students who usually receive their education in the separate educational institution are expected to receive education in the inclusive classroom, and for their education we need to take modification in three major areas. Number 1, modification in the curriculum. Number 2, modification in the teaching strategies. And number 3, modification in the learning environment. And finally, in the examination. So these are some of the aspects, major aspects where we need to make changes in order to provide the individualized program for our students who are having the different abilities and capabilities or disabilities. As an educational practice, inclusive education obviously attempts to provide equal access to educational instructions and social opportunities for all students. Educational as well as social opportunities. Generally, two types of tasks are performed in any school conditions. One is related to the educational aspect and another is related to the social aspect, and these social aspect we can incorporate co-curricular activities, cultural programs, functions and other events which are organized in the institution. They must not feel neglected in educational program, neither they should feel neglected in participating the social program. The changes in curriculum, the changes in teaching learning strategies and changes in the environmental removing the environmental barriers are highly significant. So this is a broader idea which I explained before you, the concept of inclusive education. Inclusive education aims to create a learning environment that provides equal opportunity for all students regardless of their backgrounds or abilities. Guidance and counseling play a crucial role in achieving this goal by offering comprehensive support to students, teachers, and families. If we are really implementing the inclusive classroom for achieving its objective, then we are bound to face difficulties on the part of the student, on the part of the teachers, and on the part of the parents of disabled children. At this juncture, the role of the guidance and counseling becomes highly significant and highly important, and this guidance is provided to the students and the teachers and also the parents. We will discuss everything related to that. There are certain advantages of the inclusive education. we need to understand this aspect very clearly. Opportunities of social interactions are enhanced. So, enhanced opportunities of social interaction has many benefits in itself. They were receiving education in the separate educational institution. In inclusive classroom, we are giving opportunity to interact with the other students who are considered as the normal students. So this is an opportunity to develop their social behavior, to mix up with them, to learn from their behaviors, to make friends, to seek their cooperation, and to demonstrate their abilities, which never comes out in front of the normal population when if they receive education in separate educational institution. Cost effective in Indian context. It is not possible to establish schools and the institution for every kind of the disability. That will be very costly, and we are not having that kind of the resources. Even the developed nations are not using the separate educational institution, because that is against the basic philosophy of inclusive education, where everybody has the right to receive education in an inclusive environment. Standard of learning is raised in general education. If you are providing education in an inclusive setup to the differently able student, then their quality of education will be enhanced, because the teachers will teach with the standard of the general classroom, and more expectations will be from the disabled child. They will work hard, get support from the allied services and the teachers and the special education experts, and achieve better than they could achieve in special education institutions. Involvement in out of school activities with general students. They love to engage with the other students. They make friendship, they discuss their matters with them, they seek out their support, and an environment of cooperation and coordination is basically assisting in developing their total personality. It also enhances their confidence level and the self concept of disabled learners or children with special education needs. We also call them children with special education needs. So their concept also enhances self concept. Their confidence level also develop. They consider themselves as a normal person when they are receiving education with the normal population. It has a very positive psychological impact on them. Expectations of the teachers are raised, leading to enhanced quality. Teacher also expect more from these students, because the expectations of the teachers are related to the general student, who, and many of them are having the gifted and the above average and the average and the below average students. So they also expect better performance and provide support and collaborate with the resources available related to that. Parents of differently able students feel satisfied. They also feel satisfied that my child is receiving education in normal classroom. He is a normal person, she is a normal person, and the stigma which was attached to that to go to the special school for receiving education exists no more, because all are receiving education in the same institution. General students are also able to learn the characteristics of these students. Many general students have a wrong conception of their personality in their mind. They consider misfit person, they consider many behavioral issues related to that, and they consider abnormal people. So this concept is also eradicated when they enter in these inclusive classroom and demonstrate their various positive characteristic features and their willpower, as well as their dedication and their various personality traits, which are liked, admired, and appreciated by the general students. Inclusive setting is helpful in making differently able students well adjusted as they consider equal partner in the teaching learning process, their adjustment is also enhanced. A student without special education needs may serve as peer tutors during instructional activities for their differently able student. So, support of the normal person is also taken in cooperative teaching, peer tutors, one-to-one learning process, because it also gives opportunity to the general student to do the social service, and a sense of belongingness or inclusiveness prevails in the institution. Inclusion prepares to fully participate in pluralistic society. This is basically a training, because in educational institution, people from different socio-economic status are coming and they are receiving education over there. And after receiving education, they are entering in the society and absorbing in the job market. So their adjustment in the society is highly important in the pluralistic society. They should consider diversity is basically a characteristic features of the society, and we have to play our role in a positive manner to live in a diverse cultural, social, economic, and other kinds of the environment. There are many barriers in implementation of the inclusive education. After learning these barriers, we will try to understand what can be done to support this population. Knowledge is one of the barrier. Attitudinal barriers are also there. Infrastructure barrier is quite apparent. Inappropriate curriculum is also considered at many occasions as a barrier, and there are scarcity of the trained teachers who are having the knowledge as well as skills and the desire to deal with the students with special education needs. Organization of education system sometimes create barriers, and government policies sometimes assist and sometimes they prove to be the barriers if not implemented in real perspectives. Let us understand what is basically mean about the knowledge barriers. It is a fact that philosophy of inclusive education is not understood by various stakeholders associated with it. Lack of knowledge of the area is the basic hurdle towards successful and speedy implementation of the inclusive education. Knowledge is a barrier. People are not aware that these students have the potential to get education, and this education can be provided in the normal classroom. Normal students also consider that they are not in a position to receive education. Parents are also not available. Members of the society are also not having the knowledge related to that. Even at many occasions, attitudes of the teacher is not positive because of the lack of knowledge. Teachers are not having the idea how to teach this population, how to create a conducive environment, and how to promote their inclusion in the general classroom. So this knowledge barrier is also a hurdle in implementation of the inclusive education based on the knowledge. If you are not having the knowledge related to that, then there is a possibility that you may develop negative attitude towards that. So attitudes of students with special education needs prove to be a major barrier in social integration of persons with disabilities. It has been reported by the researchers that attitude of the mainstream teachers towards inclusion is also not positive due to insufficient knowledge, exposure to training, and support to adapt curriculum. Teachers are not involved in preparing the curriculum. They are not having all the teachers are not having the opportunities of the professional development in that area. So lack of knowledge on the part of the teacher is a hurdle, and this lack of knowledge basically makes the attitude of the teachers negative. Attitudes of the parents can also be negative. Attitudes of the parents of normal population can also be negative. So these are the hurdles. There are also personal barriers which are psychological in nature, and related to the personality of the differently able students. Sometimes differently able students are not having a positive attitude to receive education in the inclusive setting. So lack of public support for inclusion. Parents of the children with special education need don't want inclusion of the children with special education needs in mainstream. That is also a negative attitude. Infrastructure is another barrier. Poor infrastructure of our schools is also an impediment towards implementation of inclusive education. Lack of ICT equipments and needed expertise to use it is also a big issue. Teachers are not aware about the assistive devices available to teach differently able students. Administrator is not available how to create barrier free environment and how to seek cooperation from various agencies in this regard. The success of inclusive education also depends upon availability of an effective resource room support. Resource room means resource room means where the experts of the field, psychologists, speech therapists, special education experts, and the person who is able to use assistive devices is available. Inappropriate curriculum barrier. Curriculum is also poses sometimes many difficulties in implementation of the inclusive education, because unfortunately we have not done justice to this aspect of this in true sense. We are implementing the same curriculum here, but we need to modify the curriculum or adapt the curriculum as per the needs of the students. In absence of curriculum adaptation, the inclusive education has no meaning. Untrained teachers as barrier. Government has not made sufficient preparation to improve inclusive education, as there is a huge dearth of specially trained teachers needed for the job. Even we are not having the trained teachers to absorb or to teach to the normal population, what to talk about the special education students. We need to do a lot in this aspect also. No doubt. Now, integrated teacher education program will definitely produce the teachers which will be well aware, because this aspect will be taken in that. Insufficient planning and preparation to provide orientation to in-service teachers for facing the challenges of inclusive education has been a big hurdle. Insufficient planning and preparation, because we are not providing opportunities to our teachers to get the knowledge related to the inclusive education. The system of education, organization of education system as barrier. The system of education in our country is unique, with wide disparities in regard to quality education, available infrastructure, rural and urban differences, and other many aspects. Uniformity in organization is not there. So implementation of inclusive education may vary from institution to the institution. Government policies, government plans as per the need and the requirement of the inclusive education, implementation of inclusive education, but the government is not serious in implementing that because of the paucity of the funds. There are serious issues related to the governance, policy, planning, financing, and implementation, as well as monitoring of inclusive education in our country. We still lack in an effective mechanism to collaborate among all specialists like special education teachers, resource teachers, psychologists, speech and language psychologists, audiologists, and other service profession. No plan of coordination is being implemented, although the National Assessment and Accreditation Council looks into the implementation strategies at university level, but we have to do a lot at the school level. There are certain roles and responsibilities of the counselor or counseling in inclusive education: addressing diverse needs of the student, supporting inclusive practices, and there are certain key areas of the guidance and counseling. In later 10 minutes, we are going to discuss all these in a little more detail. Number one is addressing diverse needs. Individualized support means guidance counselors create tailored plans for students with learning disabilities or special needs, helping them integrate into general student population while addressing their specific challenges. Students belonging to this category or differently able categories or students with special education needs are quite different, and we need to provide individualized program for that in order to address their diverse needs. So the role of the teacher becomes very important at this juncture, and the role of the counselor is also becomes very important at this stage. Counselor has to assist the teacher in planning well and provide individualized supports to them. Social emotional development. They provide safe spaces for the student to express emotions, address concerns, and build resilience, contributing to positive mental well-being. Positive mental well-being or mental health is directly connected to social and emotional aspects. If we are given opportunity to express our emotions and our concerns are addressed, and we are developing to ability to cope up the challenging situations, then it is something related to the social and emotional development. We have to provide social support to the student and emotional development and the social development of the differently able student if we are really interested in addressing their diverse needs. Life skill development. Counselor equip students with essential life skills like problem solving, decision making, and self advocacy, preparing them for future academic and life pursuit. Life skill development. Opportunities are given to the differently able student to develop their skills and be self-dependent and self-reliant, develop confidence, and move forward to get self advocacy means that they are guided by their own decisions, and they are positively trying to develop the skill in problem solving. Promoting well-rounded development, guidance and counseling ensures students develop academically, emotionally, socially, and mentally, contributing their overall well-being. Academic difficulty leads to emotional disturbances, and the person deviates from the social situations, and these aspects have a negative impact on the mental health of the student, which directly disturb the overall being of the students. Supporting inclusive practices. Collaboration is very important for that. Guidance counselors work closely with teachers and parents, fostering communication and shared understanding of students' need. Collaboration of all allied experts for better planning and adjustment is also highly significant. Supporting inclusive practices, and the number one point is collaboration. Inclusive education is an collaborative effort. Counselor basically tries to get the cooperation of all the peoples associated in that institution. He take the cooperation of the teachers, getting information related to the differently able student. He or she is also discussing issues with their parents and making communication better and sharing understanding of the student's need, so that everyone associated to that, parents, teachers, and administrators, and the students of normal population, are creating a collaborative environment to support the concept of inclusive education and resolving the difficulties of this group. For this reason, we need to provide different types of the experts available in the institution. That is basically called uh, counseling room facilities or resource room facilities. The resource room facilities are must be provided where different types of experts are available, and their support must be taken to use inclusive education or implement inclusive education, fostering a positive learning environment. It is also needed that we need to create an environment which is conducive. Counselors play a vital role in creating a supportive and inclusive classroom culture where all students feel valued and respected. They help create a welcoming and inclusive school environment where all students feel accepted and valued. Environment of the classroom and environment of the entire institution. When we are talking about the positive learning environment, the positive learning environment starts as soon as the child enters in the institution, and in all kinds of activities, whether he is in the library, laboratory, or a sports ground, or any cultural program, or in the classroom, in whatever activity he or she is involved, we are providing a positive learning environment, academic as well as non-academic aspect, facilitating student success by addressing individual needs and providing appropriate support. They empower students to succeed in their learning journey, facilitating student success. Every kind of needs of the students must be provided, must be addressed, and genuine efforts must be taken so that they are succeeding or slowly and slowly moving in the right direction. And when students feel adjusted in the institution and they start progressing well, then the concept of the dropouts is automatically get rid of. It means we are preventing the dropout. So by identifying and addressing potential barriers to learning, guidance counselors can help reduce dropout rates and improve student retention. There are certain key areas of guidance and counseling in inclusive education which must be taken into consideration, and these areas are academic guidance, career guidance, social and emotional guidance, and behavioral guidance. Let us understand what is the meaning of the academic guidance in regard to the inclusive education. Helping students with the study skills, time management, and subject selection. There are many challenges faced by these students in the classroom which directly or indirectly related to the academic aspects of the student. There is a possibility that differently able students uh, having false aspirations to, and in order to fulfill their false aspiration which doesn't match or correspond to their real ability, they may feel enthusiastic to select certain kinds of the courses which definitely will create trouble in future for them. So academic guidance becomes highly important because they are the slow learners. Their performance cannot be considered parallel to the other students. It is not possible. It should be kept by everybody who is associated to the guidance and counseling program. Okay, all students are not expected to provide to develop this or to achieve the same results. That is not possible. Differently able student will proceed with their own speed. So we need to provide adequate guidance related to the academic aspect, okay, time management skills, listening skills, writing skills, mobility skills in case of the visually challenged persons, and some using manual methods in case of the hearing impaired student. Career guidance is also very important, and these academic guidance must be linked with the career guidance. It is related to the assisting student in exploring career options, developing career plans, and making informed decisions about their future. Informed decisions are always yield positive results in deciding the career options and progress well in that. So career guidance is also very important. It is linked to the academic guidance. They need to be make aware and counseled, okay, what kind of opportunities available for them, what are the different areas where they can match with their talents and get success and satisfaction in their life. Social and emotional guidance is another aspect which is highly important because in present circumstances, emotional stability and social uh, ability to adjust, to mix up, to collaborate, to cooperate are highly essential. the social and emotional guidance is also provided to the differently able student and to the normal population also. When I am talking about the guidance and counseling, that this counseling must be provided to the differently able student and to the normal population also, because we need to create an environment for that. So addressing issues like bullying, there is a possibility of bullying to these children. Peer pressure can be there, social skill development. Students with special education need may feel isolated and disturbed emotionally too, leading to various kinds of the problem like anxiety, stress, frustration, and depression. So we need to provide social and emotional guidance on continuous basis to make their adjustment better. And behavioral guidance is also important, providing support for students with behavioral challenges and helping them develop appropriate coping mechanisms. In initial stages, the inclusion students may demonstrate behavioral problems like irritation, aggression, and impulsiveness. These are the different types of the behavior issues which we need to encounter. In conclusion, we can say guidance and counseling in inclusive education is essential for supporting all students by providing individualized help, fostering psychological well-being, and developing life skills. This support includes personalized plans for students with special needs, helping them advocate for themselves, and facilitating collaboration between students, parents, and educators to ensure a harmonious and effective learning environment for everyone. So, students, with this, we have completed our lecture, and thanks for your patience listening, and God bless you all.